Hey guys, we are in the basement and today we're gonna do part number 15 of the Journey restoration. That is right guys, we're gonna be going back to the garage to work on the Journey, and am I excited about this guys, because I want this freaking game to be done. And in today's video, we're gonna be focusing pretty much on, well, finishing up the sanding and then doing the priming and the painting. That's right guys, we're gonna be putting on primer and paint in this episode, and we are getting that much closer to being done. So anyway, why don't we go to the garage and let's get working on that Journey. Oh, and by the way, there's gonna be a lot of music in this video, and I get you guys asking me a lot, you know, where's the music from? What's the track called? Well, all the music in my videos, for the most part, every now and then I use some, like, kind of stock music files, but for the most part, all music in my videos are by me and my band, the Kilz Screens. And basically, the Kilz Screens is me and my buddy Matt McCarthy, okay? So all the music you hear in these videos that is clearly not from some audio library is by me and my buddy Matt. And you can find that music on iTunes, it's on Amazon, it's on Spotify. The band is called the Kilz Screens. We have an album out called Science Fiction Movie. The Kilz Screens Science Fiction Movie. Check out iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, or go to SoundCloud. There's a lot of stuff for free on SoundCloud, and of course you get Spotify, it's free too. But anyway, enough of that. The music by the Kilz Screens. Anyway, let's go to the garage and let's get working on that Journey. Woot! All right, guys, here's where the Journey is, and by the way, it is a brisk fall day here. It's in the 50s. It's pretty cold, and I came out here today and I was kind of freezing my butt off, getting ready to work. And I said, you know what? I need to get a freaking heater once and for all. You know, when I was over at Greg's at Arcade Impossible, you know, he had a big propane heater, and I said, I need to get one of those. So I went to the hardware store, and they had this guy. It was $100. It's the Master 60,000 BTU propane heater, and I gotta tell you, holy cow, this thing is freaking awesome. It's like 70-something degrees in the garage right now. I am hot, you know, and I figure, you know, we're gonna be painting and priming. I don't want it to be 50 degrees out here, so having this heater I think is going to be a great investment long term, and it's definitely going to extend my, you know, my work season. I could probably be out here really all year round. I don't know if I want to, because I think when the snow comes down, I want to get my cars in the garage, but this is going to allow us to keep working into December. However, we are going to be done with this thing well before December, because we are getting close. And in the last video, we were doing the Bondo. Okay, and I'm pretty much done with the Bondo, not quite. I actually need to sand this edge here. And I actually, as I was doing this Bondo work, I was actually starting to get pretty good at it, better than I'd ever been. I would say this is the most Bondo I've ever done on one game. And I actually redid this side right here. And I actually was starting to get really good with my little method on how I was doing this. And what I found out was this. The secret is you need to have a wide putty knife, okay? And I'm just using a plastic one, and basically I would just put my, I had a piece of plexi here, and I would put my Bondo along the edge, and then I would take this and just go whoop, and really that's all it took. And if you use a wider putty knife, it really kind of pushes the Bondo back further, and really you don't have to do nearly as much sanding, because before I was using a small putty knife like this, and I was getting a big mound near the edge, but if you use a wide one, it actually thins it out and pushes it further to the left here. You know, as you're going across, it's thinning it out and pushing it further away from the edge, away from the blob, and it's really been making my life easier to sand it. And the method I've been using, I've been doing it by hand. I used to do this with my electric sander, but I found that was taking away way too much, and I might go back and do the electric sander method later, but for now, on this cabinet, I've been having a lot of good luck with the palm sander, with just a hand sander, and what I was doing 180, actually I was doing, let me see here, I was doing 80 grit first, which is this, and then after I would knock all the big stuff down with the 80, I would come back in with 180 and just kind of feather it out. And my test was this. Basically, if I can feel the Bondo, I need to keep sanding. And really, you just want to keep sanding until you can go like this from the cabinet to the Bondo and feel nothing. It should just be a smooth transition. The only difference you should feel really is just a textural one, because the cabinet and the Bondo have a different feel. But you shouldn't feel any bumps or edges or anything. And right now I can feel a bump right here. So we're gonna come in with the 80 grit now, and I'm gonna knock this down. And why don't we do that together real quick? But we're getting close here. You know, as soon as we're done sanding this edge here, we're ready to start painting. Actually, we're gonna prime first. I'm gonna use some oil-based primer. It's called Kilz. And I think we're gonna put 2 coats of primer on this cabinet. I think only on the blue sections though, not the black. Because we wanna have a nice even surface. Because right now, if we paint this with just the blue paint, we're painting on basically 3 different surfaces. We're painting on the Bondo, the original blue, and some of the bare kind of MDF or particle board. And if we do that, the paint is gonna kind of soak into those materials differently. And so I'm thinking we don't want that, because if it does that, you know, we might be able to look at this on certain light and see, you know, how the blue looks differently here than it does here, and you'll be able to see our work. But I think if we put a nice even prime across this whole thing twice, 2 coats, that way we're applying our paint on a consistent surface. But I'm gonna keep going here sanding this, and then we'll get ready to do some priming. So let me keep going.
I don't believe we don't belong. No one can see what we've got. I don't believe we don't belong. No one can see what we've got. We'll wake up in the morning and you're not right next to me. I feel incomplete, 'cause I don't believe we don't belong.
Okay guys, sanding's all done here. I think I did a really good job. You cannot feel any kind of transition from the original vinyl to the Bondo. It's just smooth, smooth, smooth. And I'm just kind of taking my finger and trying to see if I detect any kind of difference in height, basically. And I can't. It's just smooth, smooth, smooth. And you can see just how razor sharp my edge is. And I did that with the plexi like I showed in the last video. But that edge is great, man. Look at this. That is a great, great edge. And this thing was all chewed up on the original cabinet. It got banged up. Who knows what happened to it. You know, the leg levelers were kind of missing, and the bottom was just all chewed up, and I fixed it all with Bondo and some plexi. I basically screwed plexi on here and used that as a guide to get my straight edge, and I showed that in the last video, so. All right, and by the way, it's hot in here, man. I had to turn the heater off. I'm sweating, which is great. I mean, I should be freezing right now and I'm not, so. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put we're gonna stand the cabinet up and we're gonna clean it up. We gotta get all this dust off of here because we can't prime over this dust. So I'm gonna blow the cabinet off and we'll probably clean it up with some simple green and blow all the debris off with compressed air. I might even get my leaf blower out, who knows, let's see. But, can you believe it? We're ready to start applying paint. Did you ever think this moment would come? I didn't. All right, let me stand the game up here. And, so... All right. Okay, so let's kind of review. Cabinet looks pretty good. I mean, right now it doesn't look good, but we got nice sharp corners. We patched all the holes and the dimples, and and all that stuff. So when we prime it and then paint it, we're gonna have a nice, smooth, consistent surface. But right now I gotta get all this dust off of here. So let me get some compressed air and let's blow this thing off and just kind of see what's going on before we start putting on the primer. So, all right, let me blow it off.
Cause you don't know what I want, you don't know what I need, you don't know anything about me. You don't know what I want, you don't know what I need, you don't know anything about me.
Okay guys, I got the cabinet all clean and dust free, and there was a lot of dust. You know, that Bondo, when you sand that, it made a mess of my garage. It made a mess of the inside of the cabinet. So I blew it off with my leaf blower. It actually worked pretty well. And then came back and cleaned it up with some Simple Green and some paper towel, and I let it dry. And so we're now ready to paint. Actually, we're gonna prime first. So what we're gonna be using is this stuff here. This is Kilz original oil-based interior oil-based primer. Blocks heavy interior stains. And I did buy some paint. The paint that we're going to use, I actually bought at Ace Hardware. It's right here. Now this is paint and primer in one. However, I don't trust the built-in primer. Because, you know, we've got, like I said before, we've got 3 different surfaces that we're basically painting. We've got the Bondo, we've got the original finish, and then we also have where the raw MDF is showing right here, okay? So I want to use a really good quality primer that's going to basically give us a consistent surface across the entire cabinet. I don't trust that built-in primer. I'm worried that if we use the paint and primer in one, that after I put the navy blue on, we're going to be able to see, you know, the blue here and blue here will be different because we have 2 different surfaces, and the paint's going to soak into this differently than this, and that might give us a different kind of effect when we're looking at it in certain light. So I think the primer is really the way to go here, and this is a really good primer. I've actually never used it, but I know it has a good reputation. I got this at Lowe's. I actually had them tint it gray because when you're working with dark colors, I did research on this actually. When you're working with darker colors, it's a good idea to tint the primer a gray color. That way the paint has less work, because if it's white, because this stuff comes in white. If you just leave it white, you're going to have to use a lot more paint to cover that white up. But if you tint it gray, the paint doesn't have to work as hard. Okay, so here it is. So we're going to have to mix this up. And my plan is this. We're going to basically paint the perimeter of the cabinet with a paintbrush first, and then I'm going to come in with a roller and get the large areas. And this is oil-based. Our paint is not, though. The paint that we're going to use is acrylic enamel, which I think is just a fancy way of saying latex these days. I tried getting oil navy blue paint. I actually bought some Rust-Oleum. It was not a good color match. I could not find anyone in my state because everyone's banning oil-based paints. You can buy some pre-mixed stuff at Home Depot and Lowe's, but it's only standard colors. You know, they will not mix oil-based paint for you. But I've got Rust-Oleum Satin Black that we're going to use for the black on the cabinet. That's oil-based. And right now, I'm only interested in priming the areas where the navy blue is going to go. I'm not worried about priming the areas where the black goes, because I know that Rust-Oleum oil-based Satin Black is going to go on just fine on the black on this cabinet, because we're just basically going over the original black with the Rust-Oleum. So anyway, first thing we're going to do here is get this primer on. We're going to do 2 coats. It says on the can to allow 2 hours between coats, and we're going to do just that. And I think that's pretty good here. Just kind of... All right, so let's go to town here. And I'm going to use a brush first. I just bought a fairly inexpensive brush at actually at Ace Hardware, and this brush was labeled for oil paints. And so what I want to do first is I'm going to basically prime the perimeter of the cabinet, and then we're going to come in with the roller. I'm not too worried about being super sloppy right now because we're going to be painting basically every inch of this thing. So I'm going to keep going here and just just paint the perimeter first with the brush and then come in with a roller and just get the rest of the cabinet. I've never used this stuff. It's not going on. It's not very thick. Okay. Are you guys getting excited? I mean, this is it. We're actually painting. Can you believe this? I didn't think we'd ever be painting this cabinet. Admittedly, I'm not a pro painter, but I can get through this. I'm not afraid to put on multiple coats until it looks the way I want it. And we're definitely going to do 2 coats of primer here. All right, I'm going to keep going here and just paint the whole perimeter of the cabinet. Okay, I have the whole perimeter of the cabinet on this side painted, and now I'm going to go ahead with my roller and just finish it off. And I'm using a 1/4 inch nap, which is a pretty fine nap because I want to have a really smooth surface, and so hopefully this does what I want and I don't get any like that egg peel, orange peel kind of effect. So I'm just going to kind of throw some paint here in my little tray. And let's go to town on it. Okay, I have the first coat on this side, and I gotta say, it looks pretty much perfect. I'm actually astounded how great it looks. It looks flawless. I mean, you cannot see any of my Bondo work. It all just vanished. And that's only 1 coat there. So I'm pretty happy. So I'm gonna keep going now. Let's go do the front and then the other side. But I have to say, I'm really liking what I see here. Wow, that looks great. So let's do the front now. Okay, I'm gonna do the front the same way. I'm gonna frame it out with my brush, and then I'm gonna come in with the roller and fill it in. And I don't think it's gonna be the front's gonna be pretty simple here, I think. I do, this area over here, see the sides here? This is gonna be painted black, okay? Now, I'm not really that worried if I get primer on here because I'm gonna come in later with the black paint. So if I get a little primer on this edge, I'm okay with that because after we put the blue on and after this dries, I'm gonna mask this off and then come in with my brush and put the black in this area. And if I get some primer over there, it's not the end of the world because we're gonna be repainting that. So, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead now and frame this with the brush and then come in with the roller. Oh, we're actually getting somewhere, guys. Okay, we have the front all primed here. Not as easy as the side because you got all these little angles and corners and stuff. And I ended up getting some primer on the front where the T-molding goes. Not a big deal. The T-molding is going to cover all that. But I guess not ideal, but not a big deal. T-molding is going to cover that entire edge there. So, all right, let's go on to the side. I'm thinking I don't need to frame with the brush the big sides here. I definitely felt like I needed to do that with the front there. But on the sides, I think you could do the whole thing with the brush. I know when I did the other side, I framed it with the brush first. I don't really think it's necessary. I'm just gonna use only the brush on this, the roller on this side. And all right, let's go to town. Okay guys, we have our first coat of primer on all three sides. And how does it look? I think it actually looks really great. Starting to get jazzed here, guys. This is this is looking like a real cabinet. You can see, I don't know if you can see that, but if the light catches a little bit, you can see some of the dimples there that I kind of sanded. But I think most of that's gonna be covered by the side art. But the Bondo work on the bottom is invisible. It has completely disappeared. So I am getting a little bit of orange peeling. It's not too bad. You know, I think that's just kind of part of the deal here with the roller. But this side looks nearly perfect. I don't see any imperfections. I'm seeing a little bit of the blue through here. We're gonna come back though with the second coat. I'm feeling really good here. So, all right, I'm gonna let this dry for 2 hours. And then we're gonna come back out and put a second coat of primer on. So let's let it dry and I'll be right back. Okay guys, it's been 2 hours here. We're now ready to put the second coat on. Now I'm noticing some things here. If you guys can see in here, there's these little dimples. And these were areas that I kind of sanded down and tried to Bondo, and you can definitely see that. So I'm wondering if I should sand, I don't know if you guys can see it, there it is. If I should sand that down or just put a second coat on. And also down here, I'm noticing, you see that little splotch right there? And that was an area where I sanded down basically to the bare MDF, okay? And that's where that splotch is. So you can see how important it is to put this primer on, because there's three different surfaces. There's the Bondo, there's the raw wood, and then there's that kind of vinyl surface. And so the hope here is that the primer is gonna make one uniform surface. So I think that little splotch down there with a second coat will hopefully disappear. Looking at the front here, there's some kind of splotchy stuff in there too. Overall though, I'm fairly happy with what's going on here. This side though is like immaculate and perfect. There's a little bit of a splotch down there where I sanded it to the raw wood. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just wondering if I should try to sand this stuff down before I put a second coat on. I think I will. What's the worst that could happen? Let me grab some sandpaper, and we're gonna just very carefully see if we can just kind of knock this stuff down before we put the second coat on. All right, let me get that. Okay, I grabbed some 320 grit, and I'm just gonna kind of carefully come in here and see what happens if I try to smooth this out. Actually, that's working okay. So I'm taking some of the primer off. Just trying to knock down these high spots that I'm seeing. Boy, I hope I don't have to come in with a third coat of primer. I'm willing to do it though if I have to. And I'm just trying to get these high spots down. All right. Man, that's a lot smoother. So I think that was an okay move there. Just kind of smooth this out in here. Yeah, that seems okay. And I'm also noticing some down here. Right over here, there's some kind of dimples. Just kind of come in, smooth it out. Yeah, that's definitely better. There's one right here. Okay, I feel a little bit better about this. You know, if I have to, I'll put a third coat on. I'm in no rush here. Clearly. Just trying to find any high spots here, and I'm just gonna smooth them down. Yeah, that feels way better right there. I think that's gonna disappear, I hope. Not sure what's up with this. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do now, actually there was some in the front here too. Let me take a look. I noticed some of those dimples. Boy, it's hot in here, man. I had that heater going. I kept coming out here like every half hour, trying to keep the temperature above 70 degrees. And it's like 75 degrees in here right now with that heater. I just didn't want it to get too cool in here while the primer was drying. Actually, this looks pretty good. I don't think I need to mess with it. I'm not really seeing any of those like little hickeys that we saw on the other side. It's a little tacky up here. Okay, so all right, we're ready to do our second coat. So let me get the paint together, and I'm gonna go ahead and just do a second coat, the same that we did the first coat. And then we're gonna let it dry again for 2 hours. So let me get the paint together and let's paint it one more time with the roller and the brush, and then we'll let it dry for 2 hours. Okay, I have the second coat on, and I think it looks pretty good actually. The area that I sanded over here, I really think, and it seems like that stuff kind of disappeared. So we'll see how it looks after a couple hours when this dries. If we have to, I might put a third coat of primer on. I'm not opposed to it. I'm gonna do this right, guys. So, but overall, it looks pretty damn good. So, all right, let's let this dry. and we'll come back in 2 hours and assess the situation and decide what our next move is. Are we gonna put the paint on, or are we gonna put another coat of primer on? So let's let it sit for 2 hours and we'll be right back. It's looking good though, guys. All that hard Bondo work, I think, has really paid off because we've got nice sharp edges and just the cabinet is very smooth and even. So it was, so far, I think it was a big success. So, all right, we'll be back 2 hours. Alright guys, it is the next day here, and I let the Kilz Primer dry overnight just to be safe. And overall, I'm pretty happy with what's going on here. However, there's quite a bit of orange peeling that I'm not crazy about. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's just a very slight texture. It's not really like over the top, but it's there. And I actually called Sean today on lunch, you know, Fetish Boy from my podcast, Arcade Outsiders, to talk to him about this. I said, hey, Sean, what do you think? Should I sand before I put the paint down? Because I really want to knock that orange peel down. And he said absolutely. So he said get some 220 grit and just sand it by hand and knock that down as much as you can. So I did. And I went to Home Depot. He actually tells me he uses these sponges, these 3M sponges. And so I actually went to Home Depot today and I bought some. This is the one I bought. It's 3M Pro Grade Sanding Sponge. Finishes fast, fine. This one said it was for sanding in between coats. So I think it's roughly about somewhere around 220 grit. And I started sanding over here just to see how it reacted. Let me go grab the sponge, actually. And by the way, this heater is amazing. Best thing I've ever purchased for this garage. I mean, I can like get this garage to like 70 plus degrees in about 10 minutes. And I'll turn that off in a little bit and it just kind of maintains the temperature. And if it starts feeling a little chilly, turn it back on, let it go for 10, 15 minutes. Pretty awesome. I'm out here with a shorts and t-shirt. You know, it's probably 50 degrees outside and it's pushing 70 in here right now. And yesterday when I was doing this, I was sweating my ass off, so that thing's awesome. So anyway, I'm gonna come in here with this and we're just gonna knock some of this orange peeling down. And I'm just gonna do it by hand. And I'm gonna come through the entire cabinet and just do this on the whole thing. And we're gonna actually do it in between coats once we put the paint on. But we're not gonna put the paint on until I feel that this is really smooth. Because if I paint over this orange peel that I have, this kind of bumpy texture from the roller, is gonna be transferred to the paint, and I don't want that, you know. You know, this is why I really hate painted cabinets, because originally this had a really smooth finish. And when you paint with a roller, you get orange peeling. There's just no way around it, especially using the kind of rollers I was using. I'm actually gonna switch now to these. These are foam rollers. I was gonna use these in the very beginning. I actually bought these like months ago, and I was gonna use these on this restore to put the primer on and the paint. But I was talking to the person at Lowe's and even Ace Hardware, and they both told me not to use these. I said, I really had good luck with this before. And I thought, well, okay, this time I'm using latex paint. Maybe they're right. Maybe I don't want to use these. But you know what? We're going to switch to these now. So for the paint, I'm going to use these foam rollers because I've had really good results with these in the past. However, I've only used these with oil-based paint. With the Rust-Oleum Satin Black, like on my Punch-Out, on the Gyrus, I've always gotten really good results with these and oil-based paint. And so I thought maybe the people at Lowe's were correct, and even Ace, you know, not to use these with latex. But I was talking to Sean today. I said, you know, I really want to use the foam rollers. Have you used it before with latex? He said, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to switch now going forward. We're going to use this with the paint. But first, I'm going to knock this down. I'm going to come in here and sand it and just make this as smooth as possible. I'm going to do the whole thing by hand. And I've already sanded a little bit up here. And already, it feels really nice. So I think that if I can just get this down where I can't feel the texture, because I can hear, right now I can't feel it right here. But down here, you can absolutely feel the texture from the roller. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and go to town. We're gonna sand this entire cabinet with these sanding blocks. All right, let's go. Okay, that was a lot of work. It's better. It's better than it was. It's not perfect. I got a little bit of texture, but it's definitely better. It's smooth. I mean, I could probably sit here for the next 3 hours doing this, and I think it's way better than it is. And we're gonna do, you know, 2, maybe 3 coats of paint and sand in between those coats. But I think this is pretty good. Now remember, we had 3 coats of Kilz Primer on here. So there was a lot of primer. So I could sand away and keep a lot of it because there was 3 layers. I would be worried doing this if you only did 1 layer only. So I think 3 coats is the way to go. And really, this is just a magnificent canvas for painting now. I mean, it's perfect. Looks really good. I do need to blow all this dust off though, because I can't paint over this dust. I think I'm gonna open the garage door and get my leaf blower and just blow all the loose stuff out of here, and then come back in with paper towel, maybe with some water or a little Simple Green, and wipe it down. But first I'm gonna blow it off. So I'm gonna open the garage and grab my leaf blower and I just wanna blow all this dust out of here, because I can't paint in this environment with all the sand. The sanding dust is everywhere in the air. So, all right, let's do that real quick. Okay, I blew all the dust out of the garage, and so now I'm gonna wipe the cabinet down. I just wanna get all the loose particles off of here before we paint, and I think I'm just gonna spray it with Simple Green and some paper towel, and just clean it all up before we put our first coat of paint on. Okay, we're all clean. I'm gonna let this dry for about 10 minutes, maybe 15. I'm gonna turn the heater on. And I just want the Simple Green to dry, but I pretty much got all of the dust off. All the sanding dust is off of the cabinet, at least in the areas that we're gonna be painting with the blue. So let's let it sit for about 15 minutes or so. I'll turn the heater on and then we'll come right back. All right, guys, we're all dry. We are now ready to paint. This is it, the moment of truth, the moment we've all been waiting for. So I bought this paint a while ago, and it's not really the paint I wanted to use. I wanted to use oil-based paint because that's what I've always used in the past, but I've never really had to deal with colors. Luckily, I've only had to really paint black, and I've always been able to buy the Rust-Oleum satin black oil-based paint. You can get it at Home Depot. It's a great paint, and I like it too because I use it with a foam roller, and I would thin it with naphtha, and I put on many, many thin coats, and I would get very good results. You know, no orange peeling, you know, no lines. I really got great results. I did it on my punch out. It turned out fantastic. I've used it many times on the front of cabinets, you know, and the inside of cabinets, whenever there's black. And so this is the first game where I needed to get a color and get something to match. And unfortunately, oil-based paint is kind of illegal now in a lot of states, including mine. And I couldn't find it. So I went with acrylic enamel, which I guess is nothing more than glorified latex. And I bought this at Ace Hardware, and the guy swears this is the best paint money can buy, blah, blah, blah. He gave me the book to take home, and I basically matched a swatch in the book to my cabinet, and I think I found a very good match. And it's B260 E7Y KX-1Y 192 MM 2Y304, but that's the paint code. And let's see what happens. I guess it's called B45-7 Arctic Night. Arctic Night. And I guess this is one of Ace's standard colors. I believe that a lot of these paint stores like Sherwin-Williams and all of them, they can match other stores. So I think if you went to Sherwin-Williams and said you have, you know, B45-7 Arctic Night from Ace, I think they can match it. So, all right, let's get to work here. So we're gonna open this up and I'm gonna stir it. I am a bit excited here because I've been waiting to paint this cabinet forever. I bought this paint a while ago because I was trying to decide what I was gonna do. And was I gonna paint it? Was I gonna attempt to get laminate? I actually got some laminate swatches. I wasn't able to find a close blue, and you know, I think in the future I'm gonna start looking more at laminate because painting is a drag. But oh wow, look at that, it's brown. Okay, so let's come in here and mix this up. Why is it brown? What's going on here? This better turn blue. The hell? Why is this brown? What is happening here? Come on. This is brown paint. Did he give me the wrong one? Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? This is not blue paint, this is brown paint. Did he get mine mixed up with somebody else? What is happening here? There's no way, this is not blue paint, this is brown. Oh my God. You know, it looks like we're not going to be painting today. Do you guys see what's going on here? This is brown paint. That is not blue. No way. There's no way that's going to turn blue after I put it on the cabinet. Son of a gun. You know, I was all ready and excited to do this today, and they gave me the wrong damn paint. My gallon must have got mixed up with somebody else. Son of a bitch. Oh man, you know, it is Monday night right now, and my plan was this. I was gonna get a coat of paint on and release this video because I'm gonna be doing this for the next week, and I didn't want to have no video for like 2 weeks, so I was gonna break this portion up into a couple videos. And now this has just completely screwed me up because I have the wrong paint. This is freaking brown. For God's sakes. Oh man, they must have mixed mine up with somebody else's. All right, well, you know what? We're not going to be painting right now because they gave me the wrong paint. And you saw on the lid, it said Arctic Blue. All right, what am I going to do? It's Monday here. I really wanted to do this video tonight and get it out. You know what? I think we're going to stop here. I don't have a choice. We got to get this video out because I don't know what the rest of this week's going to look like because I'm going to Grinkers. Tomorrow I'm doing the podcast. Tonight was the night for me to do this, guys. Unfrickin' believable. All right, well, you know what? We're going to stop here. This is the end of this video. I don't really have a choice. We're going to move on, but I feel that we're in a really good spot. I mean, the cabinet looks great, doesn't it? It's all sanded, it's all primed, it is ready for that paint, but I actually need the right paint. We're not gonna have a brown journey, so. All right, guys, so I think that's gonna do it for part 15 here. We'll resume really soon. Yeah, I guess that's it, so. All right, let's go back down to the basement and we'll resume this video next time. I tell you, we can't get ahead, can we? All right, let's go back down to the basement. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. That was part number 15, and I'm sorry that we didn't put any paint on. I don't know what happened. I think that the paint got mixed up because it was one of these deals where I went to Ace Hardware and I had them mix it and he told me to come back later to pick it up, and I think my gallon of paint must have got mixed up with somebody else's because that was clearly brown paint and not the Arctic night blue color that we picked from the book. So anyway, sorry about that, but we're going to resume next time where we left off with the paint, and we're going to paint that cabinet blue and then do the black, and then put the side art on, the T-molding, and then put the whole game back together. I really want there to be only one more video. I think we can do that. One more journey video, and we'll be done. Maybe two. I would like it to be one more. So maybe in part number 16, I know, it won't end. I don't know what to tell you. This is my life. I'm just documenting what's going on in the garage. This is not some stunt. If I didn't put this video out today, Monday, I don't know when I would be able to release another video. It could be another week. So I gotta get it out. It's still a long video, don't get me wrong. I mean, come on, it's like, what is it, like 40, 50 minutes long? So, and it really documented what happened here this weekend, so, and Monday night here too. So, hope you guys liked it. That was part number 15. And, you know, I do want to remind you guys, I do release videos every Sunday and sometimes in between. This is a Sunday video. That's late, of course. So click subscribe. If you want to keep up with these videos, if you want to know when I upload a video, you gotta subscribe because I do all kinds of stuff. We do restores, repairs, we do road trips, we visit arcades. I mean, we do everything. I mean, if you guys like these games like I do, you gotta subscribe. So press subscribe, and that way you can keep up with all of this fun stuff. And then also, I do 2 podcasts. One is called Video Game Outsiders. I've been doing that podcast for almost 10 years. Can you believe that? 10 freaking years I've been doing Video Game Outsiders. Go to videogameoutsiders.com. It's a It's an audio podcast. It is about console gaming, modern console gaming. Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Wii U, 3DS, PC gaming, all that stuff. So if you like video games, listen to Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com. And then the other podcast is Arcade Outsiders. And guess what? It is an arcade audio podcast. And it is lunacy because it's with my friends Joe and Fett, and we have a lot of fun doing that podcast. And it's a little immature, it's a little goofy, but it's a great time. At arcadeoutsiders.com. Both of those podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher and anywhere you can find podcasts. Search for Video Game Outsiders or Arcade Outsiders. Or if you want to listen live, go to allgames.com on Tuesdays starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's allgames.com. We do those shows live starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, allgames.com. And of course, if you can't listen live, you can just go to iTunes and Stitcher after the fact. And then also, well, this week I'll be in Idaho. October 10th and 11th, 2014, Arcade Outsiders will be doing a live tournament and event at Grinker's Grand Palace in Eagle, Idaho. That's right, guys. If you want to meet me, I know you do, and you also want to meet Joe and Sean, who I do the podcast with, who I do Arcade Outsiders with, you guys got to come to this event. It's going to be freaking awesome. It's at a barcade, so there's going to be beer. It's probably over 21. It's October 10th and 11th. We're going to be doing a tournament. That's 2014, mind you, if you're watching this in the future. October 10th and 11th, 2014 at Grinker's Grand Palace in Eagle, Idaho. The 10th and 11th is a tournament. It is an arcade tournament. We have arcade coming there to officiate and record scores. That's right. If you get a good score, or any score, it'll be in the record books. At arcade.com, AURCADE.com. And there's going to be prizes, there's dollar beers. It's going to be an awesome time. We did this last year, and it was a huge success. And it's looking like this year is going to be probably 4 times the size as far as attendees go, because the word is out. Last year was a lot of fun, and people want to come now. And so this year is going to be something else. And anyway, that's October 10th and 11th, Grinker's Grand Palace. We're also going to be doing a live podcast on the 11th, Saturday. That'll be broadcast live at allgames.com, probably close to 11... somewhere around 11 p.m. Eastern at allgames.com. But anyway, if you go to arcadeoutsiders.com, I have all the details there. So I know this is last minute if you're just learning about it. But if you're interested in going and can get to the Boise, Idaho area, go to arcadeoutsiders.com. I have all the details there. Just scroll down a little bit. So, all right, guys, that's it for Journey part number 15. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Later and bye.